Students, today we are just going to discuss a new topic, that is extraembryonic membrane, or we can say the fetal membrane. Fetal word is used for the embryo just after the completion of 3 months. When we are discussing about the embryonic development in the mother's body, so in the mother's body till 3 months of the development, the structure is called as embryo, and after third month it is now converted as the fetus. So the membranes present in the fetus means these are the membrane which are present around the fetus. Why we are just saying the word extraembryonic membrane? Because these membranes are present outside of embryo, not in the embryo. So they are the membrane which are not participating in the formation of embryo. These are the structures which are not participating in the formation of the embryo. Instead, they are supporting the development of embryo. So this is what these membranes are formed by the embryonic tissue that is present outside of the embryoblast. If you have remember, the two types of tissues has been produced. One tissue is called as embryoblast, another one is called as trophoblast. The embryoblast has two type of the cell, that is called as epiblast and hypoblast, and these tissues these cells are having taking the responsibilities, has take the responsibility to form the structures of the embryo. But the trophoblast layer which is lying outside, at that time also when I was discussing there, that time also I just told you we will discuss the importance of that trophoblast. So the trophoblast is not only working for providing the attachment in form of the trophoblastic villi, it is also working for providing the nutrition when it is going to convert in form of the placenta, as well as it is also participating in the formation of some of the membranes which are protective in nature. Sometimes they are supporting in variety of the way to the embryo, like protection for the nutrition, for the excretion, respiration, every type of the function is being provided by this. So you can understand very well, if such kind of the functions are not being facilitated to the embryo, so embryo cannot survive. So these membranes are very much required for the survival of the embryo. So these are the membranes which are formed by the embryonic tissues that are present outside of the embryoblast. Means what? The tissue which is present outside of embryoblast is the trophoblast. So these membranes are produced from the trophoblast. Extraembryonic means they are present outside of embryo, they are not the part of embryo. So these membranes formed outside of embryo. Once again I am repeating, extraembryonic, outside of embryo. So they are present outside of embryo, they present outside of the embryo. They do not participate in the formation of embryo, but they assist the development of embryo. This is very important line. They are not going to form the embryo anyhow, but without these membranes this is impossible to develop the embryo, this is impossible to sustain the life of embryo. Sometimes the question is there, what is the need of these membrane? So these membranes are the supportive membrane. They are working for the protection, respiration, excretion, nutrition, and many more functions thereon. So what is the extraembryonic membrane? Now it is clear to you all. These membranes are the membranes which are formed by the tissues other than the embryoblast, means from the trophoblast, present outside of the embryo, that is why they are called as extraembryonic membrane. Present in the fetal stage means when the embryo is getting converted in form of the fetus, then only the membranes are present. They assist the development, but they do not participate in the development. All the parts of the membranes comes out after the birth with the fetus, hence collectively called as the afterbirth. Remember, these membranes maintain their life along with the fetal development. They are supporting the development of fetus. They are present there with the fetus only. But at the childbirth, when fetus comes out from the birth canal, that time all the membranes followed the fetus after the birth. So as soon as the fetus comes out, all the membranes will comes out. So these membranes are coming outside after the childbirth. That is why they all are combinedly called as afterbirth. So is it clear? All the membranes are coming down, folded off after the childbirth. So that is why they all are collectively known as the afterbirth. Remember one important point that I am just going to discuss. These membranes are very much specific properties of certain animal groups. These membranes are not present in all the animal groups. These membranes are present only in RBM, reptiles, birds, and mammals. These membranes are present only in RBM. RBM means to say the reptiles, birds, and the mammals. And because these membranes are present in these animals, so these animal groups are combinedly or collectively called as the amniota. These membranes are present in reptiles, birds, and mammals, and hence these group of animals are combinedly known as amniota. And in which in which animal group these membranes are absent, they are called as anamniota. Amniota means what? When the membranes are present, and anamniota means when the membranes are absent. So amniota includes reptiles, birds and the mammals, and anamniota includes the cyclostomes, fishes and amphibians. So is it clear? Amniota means what? When the fetal membranes present, it is present there in RBM, reptile, birds and mammal. Anamniota means when the membranes are absent. So membranes are absent there in cyclostomes, fishes and amphibians. So is it clear to you all? Why we have used the word amniota? One membrane is there, amnion. So if amnion is present, then only all the membranes will be present. This is a crucial point. When amnion is present, then only all the membranes are present. That is why the group of animals having the fetal membranes are called as amniota, and those who are not having fetal membranes are called as anamniota. Remember, RBM, reptile, birds, mammals are the part of amniota without with the fetal membrane, while the others, those who are not having fetal membranes, are called as anamniota, the cyclostomes, fishes and amphibians. Now we are moving on to the more dense point, more condensed point, more deep point of the topic, that how these membranes are originates. So these membranes are of the embryonic origin, means they have to originate from certain embryonic tissues. To originate these these membranes, two types of tissues are being formed thereon. The embryonic membranes, extra embryonic membranes, are originated from two different type of embryonic tissues. These tissues are called as somatoplure and splanchnoplure. Remember, the origin of this membrane is from two embryonic tissues. These tissues are called as somatoplure and splanchnoplure. Somatoplure means to say the ectoderm प्लस सोमैटिक मेसोडर्म. एक्टोडर्म और सोमैटिक मेसोडर्म एक साथ मिलकर कंबाइंड टिश्यू बनाते हैं, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज सोमैटोप्ल्यूर. Somatoplure means what? The ectoderm and somatic mesoderm combines to form the somatoplure, and that is known to produce or originate the amnion and chorion. Two fetal membrane will be produced from the somatoplure, means ectoderm and somatic mesoderm, that are amnion and chorion. The next embryonic tissue that is going to produce these structures are called as splanchnoplure. Splanchnoplure is produced from the splanchnic mesoderm plus the endoderm. Somatoplure is produced from the ectoderm and somatic mesoderm. Splanchnoplure is produced from the endoderm and the splanchnic mesoderm, and rest of the two fetal membranes are being produced from the splanchnoplure. These are allantois and yolk sac. So is it clear? Two embryonic tissues are there from which the all four fetal membranes are originated. These tissues are called as somatoplure and splanchnoplure. Somatoplure is made of ectoderm plus somatic mesoderm, will give rise the amnion and chorion. Splanchnoplure is made of endoderm plus splanchnic mesoderm and will give rise the allantois and the yolk sac. So moving on to the next, how many types of fetal membranes are being reported here. So now the types of fetal membranes. So total 4 membranes are there. The first membrane is called as yolk sac. My dear student, I am just going to discuss all 4 types, not on the basis of their synchronization. I am just going to discuss on the basis of their origin. The membrane which origin first, that I am just going to discuss first. The second will discuss, that is originating afterward, as we are just going to move ahead. So yolk sac, the first membrane, first extra embryonic membrane, first fetal membrane is the yolk sac. And yolk sac, if I am discussing it first, means this is the first membrane which has been originated. If yolk sac originates, then all the membranes has to be originated. Why this is so? Because yolk sac is a structure. Sac means a bag or storage structure. Yolk means the nutritive material of the egg. So this is the structure where the yolk is being stored in form of the reserve nutrient, and which is being utilized during the embryonic development. So are you getting my point? So yolk sac is the first structure which has to be developed so that it could provide the nutrition for the further embryonic development. So yolk sac is the first membrane which has to be developed, and what it has the large amount of the yolk present in it, which is going to provide the nutrition for the further embryonic development. But remember, this condition is applicable in the eggs. Those who are large yolky eggs, like the birds and the reptiles are having the megalocecal egg, they are laying the egg outside of the body. On that situation, the yolk is the key component. Yolk is playing the key role there in the embryonic development. But in case of humans, you knows very well we are having almost none of the yolk. That is why our egg is called as aleacetal. So there no use of yolk sac is there, but it is developed. Yolk sac is originated first, it is present, but it is in form of the vestigial structure. So in human, yolk sac is not of any importance, since we are having aleacetal yolk and we are deriving all the nutrition from the placenta, from with the help of placenta from the mother's body only. So in humans, the yolk sac is vestigial and it is found to be filled with some of the fluid there inside and have the rudimentary structure. It is a vestigial structure, not of any importance thereon. It is very important. Then too, it is very important in the human being, because other than the formation of the embryonic reserve, or other than the formation of reserve food item or reserve material for the embryonic development, this is going to produce a key role there in the human being. This is going to obtain a different type of role. ये एक दूसरे तरीके का रोल लेना शुरू कर देते हैं, दूसरा रोल परफॉर्म करती है, और वो रोल बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है आपके लिए नीट एग्जाम में. जब भी कोई स्पेसिफिक पॉइंट्स आते हैं, those points are very much important in the NEET examination. In humans, the yolk sac has a different role. It works as the site of blood cell formation. It has the site of blood cell formation. This is working as the hemopoietic organ. Are you getting my point? जहाँ पे yolk sac यूजुअली क्या काम करता है, टू स्टोर द न्यूट्रिएंट फॉर द एम्ब्रियोनिक डेवलपमेंट, बट इन केस ऑफ ह्यूमन इट इज वेस्टिजियल बट हैज टूक द डिफरेंट रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. इट इज वर्किंग एज द स्ट्रक्चर विच इज गोइंग टू फॉर्म द ब्लड सेल. रिमेंबर, बट टिल 6th वीक. क्यों? क्योंकि उसके बाद में लीवर का डेवलपमेंट हो जाता है एंड द लीवर हैज टेकन द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी एज एन हीमोपोएटिक ऑर्गन. रिमेंबर माय डियर चाइल्ड, इन ह्यूमन द yolk sac is having a different role, that it has to participate. It is the site of the blood cell formation till the 6th week, and after the 6th week the liver has to work as the hemopoietic organ. So is it clear to you all? One more point I have to make it clear. It is the yolk sac is formed completely in the 8th week, और जब बनता है तो उस समय ये भी एक बड़े सैक के फॉर्म में होता है, बट ग्रेजुअली इट इज रिड्यूस इन द साइज एंड बिकम कन्वर्टेड इन फॉर्म ऑफ अ थिन ट्यूब लाइक स्ट्रक्चर. दैट ट्यूबुलर स्ट्रक्चर इज कॉल्ड एज अम्बेलिकल कार्ड. अगेन एन इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंट, शुरुआत में 8th वीक तक ये बन जाता है, और बनता है तो एट दैट टाइम इट इज आल्सो इन फॉर्म ऑफ द प्राइमरी yolk sac, and that primary yolk sac is a large structure. Then it is gradually reducing in the size and form a tubular structure that is called as umbilical cord. This umbilical cord is very important, that is going to connect the fetus and the mother for the exchange of material, blood vessels, everything it's present there in the umbilical cord only. और पहले ही हम देख चुके हैं स्प्लैंक्नोप्लूर. द yolk sac is being originated from the splanchnoplure. Means what? The splanchnic mesoderm plus the endoderm is going to form the splanchnoplure. So this is clear to you all about the yolk sac. Moving on to the next one, that is amnion. Amnion सेकेंड मेम्ब्रेन है, और ये माना जाता है कि व्हेन एमनियन इज प्रेजेंट देन ओनली ऑल 4 membranes आर प्रेजेंट. व्हेन एमनियन इज प्रेजेंट देन ओनली ऑल 4 membranes आर प्रेजेंट. सो लेट अस टू टेक अ लुक ऑफ द एमनियन. Amnion, in the previous lecture only, when we were discussing about the gastrulation and all 4 layers, we have all 3 layers, the ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm, we have just discussed. वहाँ पे भी हमने देखा था just above embryo a small cavity is being produced. That cavity is called as amniotic cavity. So that cavity is being surrounded by an external membrane that is called as amnion. और आपको याद होगा there we have discussed the role of amniogenic cell also, that cells are producing the amnion, that is the part of the trophoblast only. So amnion, it is present just above the embryonic tissue. Present just above the embryonic tissue means it covers the embryo outside. Remember, it provide a private aquarium or pond to the embryo. Are you getting my point? It provide a private aquarium or pond to the embryo. पहले NEET examination में in the PMT examination question was asked कि which structure of the embryonic tissue or which structure of an embryo is considered as the pond, किसको compare कर सकते हैं pond के साथ में. So the amniotic cavity is considered as the pond because it is having a fluid filled inside, that is called as amniotic fluid, and due to that fluid, that amnion and amniotic cavity is working as the shock absorber. किसी भी तरीके के बाहर के झटके को रोकते हैं. They are absorbing the external shock and the pressure exerted by the external atmosphere during the walking, running, jumping, whatever the physical activities are there. At that time, that shock absorber, the fluid is taking or absorbing all the shock whatever is present are exerted by the external activities. Originates from somatofluid. Not I am going to discuss again and again because initially only I have just discussed. It developed completely in the 8th week. The amnion has amniotic cavity that I have just discussed now. The amnion is having the amniotic cavity which is filled with the amniotic fluid. Very important. The amniotic fluid, it is filled with the amniotic fluid. That amniotic fluid is very much important. They are in the process of amniocentesis, that we'll understand later on, and this is being observed, this is being believed that the amniotic fluid is produced from the fetal kidney and the urinary bladder. From where do the amniotic fluid come? So this is believed that the amniotic fluid is come from the fetal kidney and the urinary bladder. So is it clear? The amnion is present just above the embryo. It provide or it is compared as a private aquarium or the pond. It is filled with a liquid that is called as amniotic fluid, due to which it is working as a shock absorber. Originate from the somatofluid development up to the 8th week of the embryonic development. Once again, the timing means what? From the time of fertilization. If we are just discussing the function of that, so it is working as a shock absorber. Just now I just discussed insulator and the protection from the external shock and jerk. Shock absorber, if any kind of the shock, any kind of the jerk is provided from the external surface, so that amniotic fluid is working as a cushion, and embryo is hangs in the cavity by the umbilical cord. The embryo is hanging in this amniotic cavity with the help of a thread like structure, a cord like structure, that is called as umbilical cord, that we'll see then in the next point. Remember, my dear child, one very important question is there. The amniotic fluid is being very important role in the identification of the fetal disorder and the fetal sex. We'll discuss in the next chapter. This amniotic fluid is having all the materials, all the biochemical materials present in the body of the fetus. So at the time of fetal detection, neonatal detection of the fetus, if any of the disorder is present thereon, if sometime it is being used to detect out the fetal sex, then the amniotic fluid is being drawn out. That process of detection of the fetal sex and the neonatal disorder is called as amniocentesis. So that you have to take care of that. Moving on to the next membrane, the third membrane is called as allantois. Allantois originates from the splanchnoplure and developed during 4th and 5th week. It fuses to the important point. It fuses with the chorion and forms the allantochorion. It fuses with the chorion and forms the allantochorion. In form of allantochorion, it is helping in giving rise the fetal part of placenta, because two extra structures are there, placenta and the fetal membrane. So it is fuses with the allantochorion and forms a combined structure that is called as allantochorion and give rise the fetal part of the placenta. So remember, दो तरीके के पार्ट होते हैं प्लेसेंटा में. विल डिस्कस इन द प्लेसेंटा ओनली. टू टाइप्स ऑफ द पार्ट आर देयर. वन पार्ट इज द fetal part and one part is the maternal part. So what is fetal part? Is allantochorion. Chorion and allantois combines together to form the allantochorion and will give rise the fetal part of the placenta. What is the role of allantois? It helps out in the process of excretion, respiration and the nutrition. Basic function, if it is being asked what is the importance of the allantois, so remember, nutrition is the major function of that. Instead of that, it is working as the working for the excretion in other animals. Respiration is also the function of allantois when it is fused in form of allantochorion, because chorion is basically working for the respiration. So when it is fused with the chorion, so that time allantochorion. और अभी एक फंक्शन आपने देख ही लिया है कि in form of allantochorion that is going to give rise the fetal part of the placenta. One very important point that I have just highlighted here, it serves to contribute the arteries and veins of the umbilical cord. The arteries and the veins means the blood supply of the umbilical cord is given by the given by the allantois only. Remember, it serves to contribute the arteries and the veins of umbilical cord. Means umbilical cord में जो भी blood supply आएगी, that blood supply will be given by the allantois only. Moving on to the last structure, last membrane, fourth type of membrane, that is called as chorion. Chorion is considered as the outermost membrane. outermost membrane सबसे बाहर की तरफ है. My dear child, if you have seen any of the video or the images of the embryonic development, that time you will find, you have been observed that embryo is hanging or found to be enclosed in a poly bag. वो दिखाई देता है कि बाहर की तरफ से एक poly bag में बंद है. वो poly bag कोरियन होता है. सबसे बाहर की तरफ मिलने वाली मेम्ब्रेन होती है, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज कोरियन. द कंप्लीट एम्ब्रियो इज बीइंग फाउंड टू बी इनक्लोज्ड इनसाइड द कोरियन. रिमेंबर, हर एक एम्ब्रियो का अपना खुद का कोरियन होता है. अगर वो डाइजाइगोटिक ट्विन है तो वो अलग अलग कोरियन शेयर करेंगे. अगर मोनोजाइगोटिक ट्विन है तो ही वो केवल एक सेम कोरियन शेयर करेंगे. सो रिमेंबर, जब भी आप वो बाहर एक पॉली बैग देखें अराउंड द fetus, that time you must think on that कि this poly bag is actually the chorion. It is also known as serosa. Why serosa? Because outermost layer is always known as the serosa. It surrounds the complete embryo. Just now I have just cleared you. Originates from the somatopluere. सबसे पहले हमने यही कहा था, somatopluere से originate होता है amnion और chorion. somatopluere का मतलब क्या होता है? ectoderm और somatic mesoderm. फंक्शन क्या होता है इसका? इंपॉर्टेंट है, प्रोटेक्शन, रेस्पिरेशन एंड फॉर्मेशन ऑफ द प्लेसेंटा. प्रोटेक्शन, रेस्पिरेशन इज द मेजर फंक्शन ऑफ द कोरियन. प्रोटेक्शन, रेस्पिरेशन एंड फॉर्मेशन ऑफ द प्लेसेंटा. प्लेसेंटा कैसे बनता है? अभी जस्ट अबव हमने देखा था, एलेंटोइस के साथ में फ्यूज हो जाता है और बनाता है एलेंटोकोरियन, एंड दैट एलेंटोकोरियन इज कंट्रीब्यूटिंग द फीटल पार्ट ऑफ द placenta, and it is also considered as the extra embryonic lungs of the fetus. extra embryonic lungs of the fetus मतलब embryonic lungs के अलावा बाहर से respiration में support करता है. that is why this is called as what? extra embryonic lung. why this is called as extra embryonic lung? because this is supporting in the process of respiration other than the lungs of the fetus or other than the embryonic lung. So that is why this is called as extra embryonic lung. So just take a look on the diagram of all these membrane, how they are being arranged over a fetus or how they are arranged over the embryo. So just take a look of the diagram. So here in the diagram you can easily observe the embryo is there. That embryo is surrounded externally or just above the embryo is a cavity like structure, that is the private aquarium of the private pool of the embryo, that is called as amniotic cavity, filled with the amniotic fluid, and the membrane which closes or making the boundary of that amniotic cavity is called as amnion. That is the one fetal membrane. Just below the embryo, what is there? The next fetal membrane, that is called as the yolk sac. Yolk sac earlier developed in the large vessels like structure, the primary yolk sac. Gradually it is going to reduce in form of the thin tube like structure, that is called as the umbilical cord. So that thin tube like structure is called as umbilical cord. Outside the umbilical cord, the third membrane is there, allantois. Fourth membrane, the outer one, extra embryonic membrane, that is called as chorion. So chorion, allantois, yolk sac, that is present in form of the umbilical cord, and finally the amnion. So the innermost is amnion, outermost is the chorion. So this is clear to you all. The innermost is amnion and outermost is chorion. And here the amnion and chorion fuse together to form a structure that is called as allantochorion. The amnion and chorion fuse together to form a structure that is called as allantochorion. And this part, just after the fetal membrane, the embryo is there. umbilical cord is penetrating inside the uterine endometrium. यहाँ पे uterine endometrium होगा. So this is penetrating inside the uterine endometrium. तो ये फॉर्मेशन होता है यहाँ पे प्लेसेंटा का, जहाँ पे ये अटैचमेंट होता है, तो इसके थ्रू ये अटैच हो जाता है थ्रू द प्लेसेंटा. एंड हियर रिमेंबर दिस पोर्शन दैट आई एम जस्ट, दिस इज व्हाट द पोर्शन ऑफ द फीटल मेम्ब्रेन्स एंड दिस पोर्शन इज ऑफ द प्लेसेंटा. So just after the embryonic membrane, extra embryonic membrane, the chorionic villi are present. The chorions are going to give rise the finger-like projections here on. So these finger-like projections are going to form the chorionic villi, and this chorionic villi is going to embed inside the uterine endometrium and form an interdigitation. That interdigitation is going to convert in form of an exchanging structure that is called as what? placenta. So the chorionic villi is going to form the fetal part of placenta, while the below portion, that green colored marked region, is going to form the maternal part of placenta. So is it clear now the diagram? The amnion, the innermost, the chorion is the outermost structure, the umbilical cord, the umbilical cord, the rudimentary yolk sac, allantois, chorion, chorionic villi, everything is clear to you all now. So this is all about the fetal membrane. My dear students, now today itself I am just going to introduce the topic placenta only, and here only we are just going to take the introduction. So what is placenta? Just try to understand. Just here you have seen the chorionic villi are going to develop from the surface of chorion in form of the finger like projection, and due to that what happened, the fetus is going to embedded inside the uterine endometrium. So here uterine part also and the fetal part also, they combine to form an exchange tissue between the developing fetus and the mother only. So that exchanging tissue is called as placenta. Remember, in case of placenta, both the tissues are involved that are called as the maternal tissue and the fetal tissue. So maternal part में क्या आता है, यूटेरस का पार्ट आएगा, और fetal part में हमने देखा था allantois and chorion form the combined structure that is called as allantochorion, और वहां से chorionic villi का development होगा. That chorionic villi is going to give rise the fetal part of the placenta. So just take a look of the placenta also. So student, placenta is itself a Greek word that means the flat cake. Flat cake means what? Ki the structure of placenta seems like a flat structure, a flat cake like structure. That is why it has been given as the name of placenta. That is not related to any of the cake, so don't get confused from that. The placenta is a structure which seems like a flat structure. That is why it is given the name as placenta. What is placenta? Just now I just discussed, it is a kind of connection between the mother and the developing fetus. The placenta is the special tissue that sustains the embryo and the fetus throughout the pregnancy. Placenta is a kind of special tissue by which the embryo or fetus is being sustained throughout the pregnancy period. ये वो स्ट्रक्चर होता है जो फीटस को अलाइव बना के रखता है. ये वो स्ट्रक्चर होता है जो फीटस को सर्वाइव कराता है, जो फीटस को सस्टेन करता है थ्रू आउट द प्रेगनेंसी पीरियड, थ्रू आउट द गेस्टेशन पीरियड. माय डियर चाइल्ड, जस्ट पुट फोकस ऑन माय वर्ड. पहले भी मैं बोल चुका हूँ, द ट्रोफोब्लास्ट इज इम्पॉर्टेंट स्ट्रक्चर विच इज नॉट गोइंग टू पार्टिसिपेट इन द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ एम्ब्रियो, बट विदाउट दिस the development is not going to complete. So here also, this is also the structure which is produced from the external trophoblastic villi attachment किया था, और वहाँ से फिर ये सारी चीज़ें development होना शुरू होता है. So remember, placenta is the special tissue that sustains the embryo and the fetus throughout the pregnancy. And very important point that I am just going to discuss, the placenta is found only in the viviparous animal. Viviparous animals का मतलब क्या होता है? The viviparous animal means the animals which give rise give birth to their young one. They are not the egg laying animals. मतलब mammals में तीन तरीके के ग्रुप हैं. If you have gone through the classification, mammals are being classified in three groups: the Prototheria, Metatheria and Eutheria. In Prototheria, the primitive egg laying mammals are there. The Prototheria is the group of egg laying mammals, and Metatheria is the group of pouched mammals, and Eutheria is the true mammals. So because Prototherians are the egg laying mammals, so that's why that is the placenta is not present in the Prototherian. Instead it is present there in the Metatheria and Eutheria. तो ये तो समझ में आ गया कि placenta is the property of mammals only. This is not present in reptiles and birds. That is present in the mammals only. अब question उठता है कि why the placenta is present in the mammals only, not in reptiles and birds or in the egg laying animals. So my dear child, all the viviparous animals are being supplied with very less amount of the yolk. Almost none of the yolk is present therein. Almost microlacithal or alacithal egg is there. So due to that much limited amount of yolk, can you believe that much longer time of embryonic development can be completed without failure? So what they does, they adopt themselves for getting shelter, for getting protection, for getting nutrition, and for getting all the materials required. They are just develop a kind of structure by which they can derive all these materials from the maternal tissues only. Are you getting my point? Viviparous animal में बहुत कम मात्रा में yolk मिलता है. Due to that, दिस इज नॉट सफिशिएंट, इतना नहीं होता है कि वो पूरा एम्ब्रियोनिक डेवलपमेंट को सपोर्ट कर सके। तो इसलिए ये एम्ब्रियो क्या करते हैं, अपने आप को अडॉप्ट करते हैं, चेंज करते हैं, सो दैट कि दे कुड ड्राइव द न्यूट्रिटिव मटेरियल फ्रॉम द मैटरनल बॉडी इन इटसेल्फ। वहीं से शेल्टर लेते हैं, वहीं से प्रोटेक्शन लेते हैं, वहीं से न्यूट्रिशन लेते हैं, और जो स्ट्रक्चर इस काम में यूजफुल होती है दैट स्ट्रक्चर इज कॉल्ड एज प्लेसेंटा। Are you getting my point? The embryo derives the nutrition and shelter from the maternal tissue itself, that is called as placenta. अब ध्यान से सुनना है अपने को, कोरियोनिक विलाई, जस्ट नाउ वी हैव डिस्कस्ड इन द डायग्राम ओनली, कोरियोनिक विलाई फिंगर लाइक प्रोजेक्शन डेवलप्स फ्रॉम द surface of the chorion, and the uterine tissue become interdigitated, that I have just already explained that one. ये बहुत ज़्यादा एक दूसरे से उलझ जाते हैं, interdigitated हो जाते हैं, जैसे दो उंगलियां एक दूसरे के साथ में उलझ जाती हैं। तो कोरियोनिक विलाई एंड यूटेराइन टिश्यूज बिकम interdigitated, दूसरे से उलझ जाते हैं, with each other to form an structural and functional connection, that is not only the structural agency, that is the functional connection also between the fetus and mother, that is called as placenta. So what is that two structures? The chorionic villi and the uterine tissue becomes interdigitated to form an structural and functional connection between the developing fetus and mother, that is called as fetus. And remember, the placenta is a connection between maternal tissue and the fetal blood by which the materials is being exchanged within mothers and the fetus. इन दोनों के बीच में materials का exchange होगा, जो भी जरूरत होगी सब प्लेसेंटा के थ्रू ही यहाँ पे जाएगा। रिमेंबर कहाँ पे डेवलप होगा ये, जहाँ पे इम्प्लांटेशन हुआ है उसी जगह पे डेवलप होगा। तो डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द प्लेसेंटा एट द साइट ऑफ इम्प्लांटेशन ओनली, एट द पॉइंट ऑफ इम्प्लांटेशन ओनली। डेवलपमेंट कब होता है? जब फीटस का फॉर्मेशन हो जाता है, तो तीसरे महीने के बाद लगभग 10वें वीक में इसका फॉर्मेशन होता है। Development at the point of implantation, and when it is going to develop at the 10th week means what, at the end of 3rd month। और जैसे ये डेवलप होता है तो प्लेसेंटा का काम बेसिकली क्या होता है? द प्लेसेंटा इज वर्किंग एज एन अल्ट्रा फिल्टर। अल्ट्रा फिल्टर मीन्स व्हाट? दिस इज गोइंग टू फिल्टर आउट माइनर टू माइनर थिंग, माइन्यूट टू माइन्यूट थिंग, which is going to filter all the insoluble, soluble, organic material, inorganic material, nutrients, hormones, antibodies, pathogens, whatever is there, that is going to work as a kind of filtration membrane, जो क्या करता है, किसी भी कंडीशन में हार्मफुल मटेरियल को फीटस में आने से रोकता है और केवल यूजफुल मटेरियल को फीटस में आने देता है। दिस इज वर्किंग एज एन अल्ट्रा फिल्ट्रेशन मेम्ब्रेन। फाइन और माइन्यूट फिल्ट्रेशन प्रोसेस इज गोइंग ऑन, ड्यू टू दैट ओनली द यूजफुल मटेरियल्स विल हैव टू रीच टू द fetal body, not the unuseful material or the waste material. So this is what working as an ultra filter. और इसके साथ साथ the placenta is also works as an excretory structure. Very important point is that the placenta is also acting as an endocrine structure. Endocrine structure means what? It is going to release some of the hormones. Some of the hormones means HCG, बार बार पढ़ चुके हैं, ह्यूमन कोरियोनिक गोनेडोट्रोफिन, HPL ह्यूमन प्लेसेंटल लैक्टोजन, प्रोजेस्ट्रॉन, एस्ट्रोजन, ये सारे हार्मोन, और लास्ट में रिलैक्सिन भी रिलीज करता है एट द लेटर स्टेजेस ऑफ द एम्ब्रियोनिक डेवलपमेंट। जब चाइल्ड बर्थ का टाइम आता है, एट दैट टाइम प्लेसेंटा इज आल्सो गोइंग टू रिलीज आउट द रिलैक्सिन। विल सी द लेटर द फंक्शंस ऑफ द प्लेसेंटा। तो ये सारी चीज़ें आपने देख ली, मतलब जैसे ही प्लेसेंटा का फॉर्मेशन हो जाता है, HCG का रिलीज होता है, प्रेगनेंसी कंफर्म की जा सकती है, एवरीथिंग इज देयर। हम पहले ही बहुत ज़्यादा पढ़ चुके हैं HCG के बारे में, तो आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू डिस्कस मोर अबाउट द HCG। सो इज इट क्लियर टू यू ऑल? प्लेसेंटा का मतलब क्या होता है? इज अ काइंड ऑफ स्पेशल टिश्यू विच सस्टेन द embryo and fetus throughout the pregnancy. इसी के थ्रू the complete exchange between the mother and the fetus will takes place. केवल विविपेरस एनिमल में मिलता है, मतलब मेटाथेरिया और यूथेरिया में मिलेगा। क्यों मिलता है? उसका कारण ये होता है कि इनके पास में योग की कंसंट्रेशन बहुत कम है। ड्यू टू दैट व्हाट हैपन, दे आर ड्राइव्ड और दे आर फोर्स्ड टू टेक द न्यूट्रिशन फ्रॉम द मैटरनल बॉडी ओनली। तो उस समय उस मैटरनल बॉडी से न्यूट्रिशन लेने के लिए, उस मैटरनल बॉडी से शेल्टर लेने के, दे हैव टू डेवलप द स्ट्रक्चर दैट इज कॉल्ड एज प्लेसेंटा। और प्लेसेंटा है क्या? कई बार पढ़ चुके अपन, प्लेसेंटा इज काइंड ऑफ इंटरडिजिटेशन मेड बाय the uterine part and the chorionic villi, that is structural and the functional unit which provide the connection and exchange of the material between the mother body and the fetus, develop at the point of implantation at the end of 3rd month, act as the ultra filter for the nutrient, hormones, antibodies, pathogen, etc. And it is also working as an endocrine structure which release the basically HCG human chorionic gonadotrophin, HPL human placental lactogen, progesterone, estrogen, और later stages में relaxin भी release करता है। तो आज के लेक्चर में हमने 2 चीज़ें कवर कर ली हैं, द कंप्लीट डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ द एक्स्ट्रा एम्ब्रियोनिक मेम्ब्रेन एंड द अर्ली इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ द प्लेसेंटा. In the next lecture, we'll discuss the placentation in the mammal. That is very important topic for the NEET examination, because वहाँ पे you have to go with the variety of the placenta, the types of placenta and the function of placenta. किस एनिमल ग्रुप में किस तरीके का प्लेसेंटा मिलता है, that is very important question is in the NEET examination. So please go with that. Thank you.